Trucks built to serve.
Live from New York, it's the show that's featuring the 2024-25 season debut of the one and only Greg Jennings. Welcome. Yeah, it's a new football season.
Okay, I'll buy that.
It's brand
Greg,
new.
it's great to see you.
Great to be seen.
It's like Warren Sharp's PDF. I downloaded it. Greg shows up. We are heating up. It's 45 days to Mahomes versus Lamar in a GOAT contest. Woo, we're there. Second hour, first thing. Oh, by the way, Greg, 2-hour show now.
Show's 2 hours now.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, because he showed up an hour late, so I didn't know. We lost time, perhaps. Today is Lamar Jackson, the GOAT. Not yet, but according to Harbaugh, he's going to be.
Well,
he's going to be.
He said it's the goal. Let's not misquote.
That's the vision.
The vision.
That was also very kind of like,
I know.
Oh, I got some crystals.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Chiefs talking three-peat.
Yeah.
And Mahomes talking about having some fun, and Nick takes issue. A little friendly fire with Chiefs social media.
Yeah, that's true.
They're friends of the show.
That's all right. They can listen. Friends tell friends when they screwed up.
Okay, that's fair. But right now, talking about the Cowboys' contracts. According to Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News, maybe CeeDee Lamb's deal gets done sooner than later. Watkins writing, according to one person with knowledge of the front office's thinking, the Cowboys are putting Lamb's contract extension ahead of Dak Prescott's. Nick, we'll start with you. Is this a good idea?
Well, this is not the way teams typically operate. I thought Danny Parkins, when he was on this show, but then did a longer piece on it, was filling in for the Herd the other day, made the point. The Cowboys have 3 contracts up. Their quarterback, their star pass rusher, and their wide receiver. And the point he made that I'll echo, because I think it's a smart one, is recent NFL history tells us only one of those contracts ever doesn't get done, and that's the wide receivers. There's nobody lets a quarterback hit free agency, and nobody trades a guy like Micah Parsons coming off his rookie deal. But a lot of star receivers coming off their rookie deal or wanting to get paid get traded. The Diggs got traded in Minnesota. I know he just got traded again, but I'm talking about years ago in Minnesota. Devontae, Tyreek, A.J. Brown. There's others.
Can I make an argument?
Sure.
Was Minnesota being like, no, JJ's our guy, and Kirk, you can roll?
Well, no, they didn't.
You didn't know
they didn't know they were getting JJ. They had
I'm sorry, Justin Jefferson.
No,
not,
I understand, but they didn't
McCarthy.
know that they were getting Justin Jefferson
in the draft.
They didn't know the draft was going to fall that way. No, it was they did not. They knew they were going to get a first-round pick and probably draft a wide receiver, but they needed the Eagles to draft. Was it
Rager?
Rager. Good job. Well done, Wild.
Damn,
Jalen Rager, one spot
Nick
there.
Collins is.
So okay. But so no, they knew they were probably going to reset the salary structure at wide receiver. The Chiefs traded Tyreek. The Raiders traded for Devontae. Packers got rid of him. So this is typically not what teams would do. If they have to make a choice, it's like, well, there's a lot of good wide receivers, and we don't want to pay top of the market. I think Dallas is doing this because they know CeeDee's awesome. Micah's going to get paid. And I think they are unsure about whether or not they want to pay Dak.
Jeez.
So they know they want to pay CeeDee. They know they want to keep him. So he jumps Dak in the priority list, which is not unreasonable to me, but it is unconventional.
It is very unconventional, and you prioritize what's most important to you. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys are letting the world know, and CeeDee Lamb know, you are most important. And this is odd because you've mentioned it. Traditionally, across the league, you always take care of your quarterback first, and then everything else, domino effects off of that. However, when you look at this team offensively, we have seen Dak Prescott not show up when they needed him to show up most in the postseason. I truly believe, I'm with you, I believe that they are out, and I'm going to say out, on Dak Prescott leading this team to be a contender, to win a Super Bowl. I don't think they believe he can do it. Now, I believe that they understand that they have pieces, and they feel like, okay, if Dak Prescott's going to be a top 10 middle tier quarterback,
8th to 14th in the league,
especially in the postseason, well, we can get a quarterback that can keep us afloat, and that we can drop that salary from Dak Prescott and then continue to keep all these other awesome pieces that you mentioned that they're going to pay. So I don't think it is strange from a traditional standpoint and how the league typically orders the contracts. But for Dallas and the Dallas Cowboys, no, they're prioritizing what's most important, specifically on the offense side of the ball, and that's CeeDee Lamb.
All right, so with that in mind, what model is this? And I joked around about there's the Mahomes model, awesome quarterback. You don't need to pay everybody, even though Travis is paid, but he's actually probably not getting anywhere
tight ends don't get paid,
pass catchers. But tight ends are. Or you got the Purdy model, don't pay the quarterback, pay everybody else. It seems like the Cowboys are trying to like split the difference, and if they do let go of Dak, find somebody in that.
If they let go of Dak, they're trying to follow the Purdy model. In the right
but on
now,
a rookie, they're gonna get somebody on a rookie deal.
Yeah, that's the only thing to do. I mean, right now they're kind of trying to do what I would say the Lions model is, which is have a quarterback that makes real money. The Lions, you know what I mean, but not the very top of the market. I know Goff just got a new deal, but when they traded for him, Goff wasn't on a rookie deal. He's on a real contract, but it wasn't exorbitant. Just like Dak's prior to this year hadn't been exorbitant. Dak's contract right now. The reason I am so confident the Cowboys aren't extending Dak before this season is because so much of their life would have been easier if they had already done it this offseason. So, like, I know the cap stuff with Dak is complicated, but you just have to think about it like this. He signed a 4-year, $160 million deal, okay? He is in the last year of it. They have only had, of that $160 million, 65 show up on their salary cap up to this point. So they were already borrowing from future years to have Dak's number cheap, which is why this year it's $55 million. And next year, if he's not on the team, it's $40 million in dead money for him not to be there. That's why they weren't able to participate in free agency. I think it's one of the reasons why CeeDee's not done yet, all those things. So if they were going to give Dak a deal before he played another football game, doing it 3 months ago and being able to add other pieces would have made more sense. The fact that they haven't, to me, Greg, says they're not going to. That they're going to say, you know what? If you go out there and have a great postseason run and we end up having to pay 10% more than you're currently asking for, we'll pay that premium to avoid dealing with the fact that if we pay you now and you have another flame out in the postseason, we are tied to you for the next 3 or 4 years with no escape hatch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out, and particularly for Dak Prescott, because he's a really good quarterback. I just don't believe that he's the quarterback that can get it done in Dallas with all that's weighing and looming over that franchise of them not having been to a conference championship in 25 plus years and all the things. The performance that he had against the Green Bay Packers at home, having not lost a regular season game all season long, I'm not just trying to put it solely on Dak Prescott. But when you look at the frustration that CeeDee Lamb showed on the first possession.
So that, can we stay on
all
that
of
for
those
a second?
things.
Do you, now that we're this far, just real quick before we move on.
I remember that story.
Now that we're this far removed from it, and the Cowboys are prioritizing CeeDee, Dak doesn't have a deal yet, and that was a team that crushed at home.
Yes.
That rolled, and it's not like the game had gotten away from them. There was a Packers, the Packers-Falcons NFC title game. It was like 21-0 before Rodgers had thrown his 5th pass. Like, that game was just over. That wasn't the situation. Why do you think that was sideways immediately? And how, like, what could have happened in the interim, in the week between the end of the season and that moment that made it go that sideways? And how does that carry over if CeeDee gets paid and Dak hasn't?
Well, I think there were questions revolving around whether or not this quarterback could get it done. Dak Prescott could get it done in the postseason. And so when the Green Bay Packers decided to go for it on the 4th down, on their first possession, they convert, and then they go down and they score a touchdown. You see the Dallas Cowboys sideline, and it's like, okay, we got to respond. Well, when they took the field, they did not look like a confident group from the onset. And I think when you have a player who's emerging, who's completely budded this year in CeeDee Lamb, and he doesn't get the attention, he doesn't get the targets, he doesn't get featured, and your quarterback is struggling after Series 1, after Series 2, there's going to be a lot brewing there to where you start to kind of point the finger, saying, dude, you've been doing this. This is the time we've expected you to be better, and you're not. And again, I know it sounds like I'm pointing it at Dak Prescott, and And maybe I am, because quarterbacks are going to garner all that attention whether you win or lose. But in this particular situation, in the postseason with the Dallas Cowboys, it revolves around the quarterback play. And Dak